the Shadow, who wins by almost 2 lengths. Storm flag flying, came on to be second.
Here, and it's going to be English Channel and John Velazquez, runaway winners in the Breeders' Cup Turf. English Channel's romping in.
Second spot, a thriller in the end as those two came for the line. Perfect Shrill, it's a driving finish. Perfect Shrill going to get up. Perfect Shrill to win it. Perfect Shrill now reigns. Misty for me was 9 late. So was the Sporting Legacy and Aruna right there. 5 of them went to the wire again.
Right for the wire, and Wise Dan strikes the front, sticks his neck out. He wanted to win today, and win it he will. Wise Dan, super impressive Breeders' Cup Mile. Wise Dan won it.
Here he comes, main sequence, forging to the front. A perfect year for main sequence. Fletcher was second. Twilight Eclipse was third. Terrar, World Approval has the lead as they come down to the wire. He's pulling away late. And World Approval does it in the Breeders' Cup Mile. World Approval won it by a length. Bridled, able. Has been charging but running out of time. Forever Unbridled's gonna do it. Forever Unbridled has won the Breeders' Cup Distaff over a beauty. Sister Charlie on the far outside. The three of them coming down to the line, and it is Sister Charlie who ran down Wild Illusion in the last strides to do it. Oh, what a super filly! Mean and John Velazquez, they won it by 6 lengths on the wire, and they broke the track record, but it's authentic in front. He won the Derby, he won the Breeders' Cup Classic, he's authentic indeed. He won it by 2.5. Oh, there's drama in the distance. Here comes Laurier, blue stripe on the outside. It's Malathon coming to the wire. Who's it gonna be? It is very close. Did Malathon get up in the last prize? Going to be Fierceness and John Velazquez. Oh, they're running away. Fierceness, a powerhouse win.
Yeah, powerhouse win. 20 Breeders' Cup champion victories. I had to put a montage together for you to, just remind you what a boss my special guest is talking about. Hall of Famer Johnny Velazquez. Hey, Johnny, how are you?
I'm so excited to be here with you. I'm watching all these things you just put in there. It's like, I'm going to hold you to it. I need that video for me.
Oh, no, absolutely. I actually, so in preparation for the show today, I started watching back some of the Breeders' Cup wins. And even though the show is the Future Stars forecast where we focused on 2-year-olds, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so good. I wonder if I have time to put together a quick montage of all of them. And so I did. And I just get goosebumps watching those replays back.
Me too. I mean, you had me here like, I was like,
it's crazy.
Yes, thank you.
When I look back at it, I mean, DeHaas, Wise Dan, you had a Shadow in there. Just some thrilling moments. Malathot coming to the wire in that 3-horse photo. And it is incredible. I mean, you had tight races like that with her, and you had just blowout victories with horses like Gamine.
Absolutely. That's what makes the racing, so exciting, right? So you hope that you get all those races, those wins, like very easy, right? So you don't get so tense and so and so easier, So, but I be at racing, it brings you different emotions and the ups and downs and everything. So I'm being very lucky, very, very blessed to ride a lot of horses like these ones that you just have here shown in the show. Very lucky, very blessed. Yes.
And the crazy thing is, when you think about it, you watch that montage back, there are so many horses that you rode to victory at our World Championships well after you were actually inducted in the Hall of Fame, which was back in 2012.
Wow. Yes, true. Oh my God.
Right?
That makes me old.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. And
Yeah.
I love the camaraderie too, because another rider who's already been in the Hall of Fame for many years, Mike Smith.
Yes.
And watching that replay back, on Abel Tasman, and you held him off.
Yes. Oh my God. It's like, and it's a really camaraderie between Mike and I. Mike and I have been very good friends since I got here to New York, and it's funny because our son is named after Mike Smith as well. So this is how close
Oh,
we are. So yeah, I mean, it's great to have him and be part of that name of jockeys who won all these Breeders' Cup, and just to be named close to Mike Smith. Like my son used to tell me, it's like, Daddy, when he was younger, and he's always been a fan of Mikey since he was a very, very young boy. But he always kept telling me, Daddy, you're getting this close to my friend Michael. You're getting this close. And I said to him, so I'll take anything that close to him. I'll take it.
oh gosh. And both such great people. I think the first time I ever got to speak with you in person was at EquestriaCon after it was the year in which you had won the Kentucky Derby aboard Always Dreaming. And I just remember thinking about how when we had that discussion, we had the Kentucky Derby trophy there on display, and just even the fact that you've already had all the success already, talking about getting goosebumps, being able to cross the wire in such a prestigious race as the Kentucky Derby, known the world over. And when you just look back at the resume, I mean, not only have you had this success here in the United States, you've won at Royal Ascot, you've won the Dubai World Cup. You were just in Ireland. I would love to hear about your trip over there and what you thought of the racing landscape across the pond.
I really had a great time, though, and this became, a year in the works, if you will. I went there last year after Ascot, and I want to let them know that I want to be part of it. But, I want to be, racing has taken me all over the world, as you said, but I never had a chance to ride in Ireland. So I want to let them know that it's a dream of mine. That the horses that had taken me all over the world, I haven't been able to ride in Ireland. So I went there last year. I went to, Ballydoyle, went to Joseph O'Brien's place. I went to the Cora, went to all those guys to let them know, I'm going to come back, and I definitely would love to win a race for you guys here in Ireland. And I was doing something very, very, very new to all of us, and for one of us from here for America to just take the chance and go over there and ride a few horses without having a stable behind you, or having something, it's totally different, right? Or not having a horse taking you there. So I did something different than anybody else done it. So it was a great time. I think it was a really success for even racing there. I mean, I did a lot of interviews and then, a lot of things that, that helped the sport to go to another level. I think they were very happy with me. And I think the horses that I rode, they run as well as they could,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping the next year I build up enough business that I can get a little more live mounts into the races, though, and with more time. So they know that I'm going to be there next year for that kind of weekend, though. So hopefully we can build it up very good and do something different than I ever done in my life. Yeah.
Oh, it's so exciting. And I should mention to everybody, this is currently a live show. So if you have a question, comment, feel free to take part in the conversation. We actually already have some people chiming in. David says hello and blessings. Ask Johnny V, who was the greatest horse he ever rode. I feel like it was Wise Dan. And he went on to say, Wise Dan would have won at Ascot. Hey, John. Or John.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously he's been, he was one of my favorite horses the whole time. I mean, being horse of the year twice back to back and running every track that he went, I mean, I definitely would think that he would have won an Ascot. He was one of the horses who could run anywhere, though.
Yeah.
He went from California to Canada to Kentucky to New York and run in the dirt, run in the poly track, and run the grass, and he run in the soft grass and the hard track, and the firm turf. So he did everything. So he was very special horse to have, and very lucky to be part of it, though. So one of those horses that is always in your head, when somebody asks you one of your favorite horses, I definitely have to say Wise Dan. Yeah.
I have to say, one of my favorite personal memories at Saratoga, I wanted to meet Wise Dan, and Charlie Lopresti, so kind, so humble. He said, sure, you can come meet him. So I went to the barn. He actually let me go in the stall with Wise Dan for a little cuddle session.
Yeah, no, I mean, Charlie and Amy did a great
Yeah.
job with him, though, and they spotted really very very well to the races that they put him into, though, and they're such a sweet people, though, So I was
Yeah.
very glad and very blessed to be part of it, and we still remain friends after all these years, and he's retired and everything. So every time I go to Keeneland in the fall or in the spring, I make sure that I try to take a date so I can see Wise Dynam and have a little time with them as well.
I love that. We also have Fernando. How good was Authentic?
I was begging before the Breeders' Cup. I went to the farm. And I was talking to a couple of people in the farm, with Spendthrift, and I was talking to Mark, especially he was showing me around. It's like, man, it's like this horse has not shown all of he can do. It's like, I hope if he wins the Breeders' Cup, I hope that you guys keep him for next year, because I think he's just getting started to figure out what he needs to do, though. Obviously, for the reason that it never happened, but yeah, he was very very good, and I think we didn't see his best, what he could have done, in another more year, though.
Well, that was such a memorable win. Matt and I were standing there on the rail, and I just remember watching him come by and crossing the wire. Both of us looked at each other. We both went, "Wow."
He was a wild horse. I mean, I'm telling you, it's like I think I got him at the right time. I mean, with all the stuff that he was still learning, right? And by the time I got on him, he was just getting his mind where it was matching his power, basically his potential, though. So, and that's what I said. Like, I mean, one more year in this horse, I mean, he'll be incredible for the following year. But anyway, he was that good.
Yeah.
I really thought that he was a very very good horse.
Yes. Let's see here. Katie says, Johnny, you're the best, greatest of all time. Love your rides on Medina Spirit. Rest in peace. What a talented horse he was. And I saw the big, I don't know, you call it statue, but the monument basically that they put out there at Old Friends. It's beautiful.
Oh, yes. It's absolutely gorgeous. And by the way, one of the horses, there was an underachiever, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, he was one of the horses that the little horse that could do it, and
Yeah.
I was riding in California, and I keep telling Bob, this horse is getting better, and I think, he's going to surprise you, going to the Kentucky Derby, and obviously he did. So, I mean, very unfortunate things that happened with him,
Yeah.
but we should not take anything away what this horse accomplished. Yes.
So much heart. So much heart. Super Grova, congratulations. I love all the emojis. You got some champagne bottles popping.
Very
Love
nice.
it. Let's see. We've got Kelly saying hello, Ren and Johnny. Well, hello, Kelly. And Rodney. Johnny, how different is it today from the horse caliber? I see horses from back in the day make middle moves down the backside and still win. Today, we just don't see that anymore.
I think it's a little harder now too. Obviously, breeding has changed. It's just number one thing. Breeding has changed a lot, and also competition has been a little tougher too. There's competitions in all sizes now that most people has good breeding horses, right? For what we have right now. So competitions gets very tougher, and the way we used to breed, where that you could have more sustaining run, like you would trying to allude to. But now we have so many different trainers and so many owners getting the same kind of breed, the same kind of potential kind of horses, though. So it's really hard to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and you were saying even apart from the breeding, I was watching an interview you did while you were over in Ireland, and I love that you said this because it is so true. If you look region to region here in the United States, the colonies all ride different. I mean, there's so much different. The gameplay is just different.
Yeah, I mean, wherever you go to New York, or you go to Kentucky, or you go to Florida, and then I was in Ireland. That's where I kind of brought that up. Wherever you go, you have to adapt to how the riding style they do, or the training style, or how the track is playing, right? So most of the time, it changes the way the track is playing. So you have to change and adapt to all the places that you have to go to. So all those things have to come in place, and you have to adapt to all of it. Yeah.
Well, before we talk about what's happening presently in your career, let's take it all the way back. You were born in Puerto Rico. But you weren't necessarily a horse racing fanatic when you got into riding originally.
No, I didn't grow up on the racetrack at all, and I didn't have any family on the racetrack. I did grow up around horses, pleasure horses that families and friends had, but I didn't know anything about the racetrack until I was 14 years old. I met Julio Garcia, and really, I mean, a blessed jockey, I would say. I mean, he's a really good jockey, and he did really good in Puerto Rico. He went to California, did really well, you know. Then he went back to Puerto Rico, he did really well. So, excellent jockey. I think he would have done as good as myself and better than anybody else that came from Puerto Rico. He didn't have the mentality, if you will. Let's put it that way. I don't think he had the heart to follow up the career that he probably should have had. But anyway, I met him in Puerto Rico, and that's when I started thinking about, wow, so you can, ride horses and make money out of it, and something that you love. And that's my introduction to racing. I was 14 years old, and then at 16, I met somebody else, an agent in Puerto Rico, a friend of my uncle, and he was the one who let me to get to the jockey school in Puerto Rico. So Mario Garcia was the one who introduced me to racing, got me to the jockey school in Puerto Rico, and graduated. And not only that, graduated from the school. He was my agent when I first started riding in Puerto Rico. And then he actually was the connection with Angel Cordero, who brought me to New York. So everything was lined up like in less than 2 years, basically. Yeah, about 2.5 years, basically. Got basically, find somebody to help me out to get to the school, graduated from the school. Then 2.5 months, I was here in New York. So, and it's just a connection with everything. And, I was lucky enough to found friends and family who guided me, right, to the racing. And I'm saying, when I came to New York, I was still very green about horse racing, basically. I was just really learn the very basics of it, so how to learn everything from the bottom up anyway. Very interesting. I mean, I was very lucky. I had to learn everything about the racetrack, everything about the lingo, everything had to do with anything with racetrack and racing. So yeah, it was a hard learning experience just to get into it and try to learn the riding styles and everything. And I mean, I was very lucky to have Angel that he was always there, encouraged me that I could practice, how to watch, how to learn, and learn the language. I didn't speak English at the time when I got here in New York. So make friends and know the trainers, very important. Make friends with the trainers, the assistant trainers, and so on. And then get accustomed and the things that we were talking about, right? The racetracks, the style of riders, and all the stuff that I have no clue. I have no clue what I was writing about. So I had to learn all those stuff. So at least I had a little bit of talent, but I was very eager to learn. I was eager to learn to do the things and get to a different level. And that's what got me to today. Yes.
Well, what would you say? I don't expect you to know, but what would you say the percentage is of riders today who went to an actual formal jockey school versus those who just kind of came up through the ranks, riding in the mornings and graduating into being a jockey?
I think it's still very little. I mean, only two countries who have really school, but they right here in the United States, really Puerto Rico and Panama. Then Venezuela has a little bit of school, but it's not the same like we do in Panama and Puerto Rico. And then you get the kids who actually, the way you talking about, that come through galloping in the barns and and so on, and learning to be a jockey here in the United States. So so if you see right now, I think the percentage coming from the school from between Panama and Puerto Rico is probably a little higher than, I don't know, 35% maybe, and coming from those schools, coming into the States to ride, yeah.
Would you say that they're coming in with a greater advantage? Because I found some of the greatest jockeys, they have had some formal education.
I think they do. To this day, the way the schools are doing things and getting the kids ready to school and to ride races, they do have an advantage, though. I mean, and you start from the bottom too. And those both schools in Panama and Puerto Rico, you groom the horses, you walk the horses, you do the same thing, learning with the horses before you start riding the horses and gallop horses and breezing horses. So you have the whole connection with the horses from the way from the bottom to then come to start riding and getting a job galloping horses and breezing horses for somebody who's helping you, to in your career before you graduate. So all those things have there. And then Puerto Rico goes a little further than this. So Puerto Rico gets practice in the morning. So you have to weigh out. You have to wait. You close as you're going to ride in the afternoon. Boots, everything, the whole equipment. So and then you go and ride a race. And most of the races are 5 furlongs or 3/4, but at least you get a few of those races in. Then before you graduate from the school, you get about a month, and I think that's about 6 or 8 races they do. So all the students get to practice before they actually graduate, right? So now they have to ride in the afternoon. One race, right, before they graduate, at least one race before they graduate on December 31st. So now they already have a race on, on them basically, before they actually ride a race professionally. So they go further than that. At least you're comfortable. You're more comfortable. You rode a race. You have a whip. You do all the things, the normal things before you actually ride a professional race. So it's very close to what riding races, though. Although nothing like riding, with all the different jockeys and different, but at least you have that practice that you feel more comfortable than going in blindsided to your first race, basically. Yeah.
Has there been any attempt to bring that more widely here in the United States?
I think we had a school here in Lexington, but it wasn't just like that. It was a little bit different, and I think, we could put something like this in America, and I think we need something like this. But it has to be something that is going to be the same way that the kids are going to be taking practice in the morning, having races in the morning to learn how to ride better before they actually graduate, and then having a race in the afternoon, 6 to 8 races, right? So before they graduate, at least the students who are in the class, at least they ride minimum one race or 2 races before they graduate, before they actually go into the open wide world, basically. Another place they do this is some trials. They call this Australia. Australia has some trial races that jockeys, amateur jockeys, or whatever they want to be a jockey will do something like that. We don't have those things in America. I think it'll be a lot, something really good for the kids who are actually trying to be jockeys here in America, that they will practice those races before they be on, and their first race, just coming from galloping, a horse to a race.
I think it would be so beneficial. I will not name names, but I've seen a couple rides over. I grew up in horse racing. I grew up on a breeding farm, and over the years, you'll see rides every now and then. You're thinking, oh, maybe that didn't need to happen, because I think this jockey maybe did something that everybody can be an armchair quarterback, right? But
But the same thing you're talking about, right? So imagine every jockey or apprentice jockey had to ride a couple of races, practice races before you go to an open race, right? So at least you have it, and you see yourself, you're watching the film, you're doing this, right? So and you criticize, and you've been criticized before you actually ride the race. So you see yourself, and you thought better, because now you mental and everything you see and people are telling you, you're going to see it better, and so then just go and ride them to the race that there's a professional race, and then horses doing different things, and the horse, maybe the horse you're riding is a very difficult horse as well, so you don't have the experience to have how to handle those things. So I think it's very important that in the near future they put something like that jockeys should be practicing before they actually go into a race.
Well, as part of the curriculum, were you taught how to read the racing form or whatever type of data that you had there?
We learned everything from, and the little English that I knew when I came here to the States, to diet, to all the parts from the horses, reading our kind of racing form type of thing that we have in Puerto Rico. So you had to read, learn all those things. So yes, anything had to do, and I'm pretty sure now in Puerto Rico we have the racing form from here as well. So you have to learn that as well. So they prepare you to all those things. At least when you go somewhere, what's presented in front of you.
And before I move on to some other questions that we are getting from our guests, because we have a lot, I see them, I will get to them, I promise. I'm curious, and this is just me speaking. This is my opinion. One of the things that we've seen recently with horse racing, the rules regarding the crop. I personally think they're not necessary, because I personally think that egregious use of it is obvious to anyone. So you don't need to impose a rule saying you can't use it X amount of times, because anybody can already see when it is being mishandled. So you can then punish accordingly, instead of putting this restriction on everybody from the get-go, and then making that something that they have to, there's a strike count. And the fact that you're already having to keep in mind so many different dynamics throughout the course of a race, from how fast you're going to when a hole's going to open up to what other people are doing around you. Now you have to count.
Yes.
I just feel like it's unnecessary, but that's my opinion.
Well, I actually agree with you. I'm 100% with you in that sense. But we have a lot of people who disagree with us, though, and then this is where we end up now, though. And I think it was very unnecessary, like you said, and I think it was handled very appropriate for anybody who was misusing it, right? And those terms. But in today's days, they're pay attention to more about the what's the word I'm looking for? Perception, if you will, than anything else. The reality that what we do. And I think that's the world that we live in right now, and this is where we end up with the kind of rules, the rules that we have right now. I wish we didn't go as far as we have done right now, and I don't know if we can go back, because I think some horses really, I mean, some horses needed more help than other ones, and I think they need a little more encouragement than other ones, and the horses doing willingly and easier than other horses is really hard for the horse who needs a little more encouraged, though. But that's been said and done. I don't know how we will go back and explain that to the public and to everything else. So it's very difficult. But yeah, I agree with you in the sense. But this is where we are right now.
I always would prefer education over capitulation.
Yes.
And our crops aren't even the crops of yesteryear either. So
No, absolutely, we have changed that from. I mean, we changed the crops. So I don't know. The first time we started changing the crops in 2002, 2003. No, I think 2005. I think we started changing the crops, so they are much friendly uses for the horses. So no cuts and welts on the horses. So yeah, those are things were done very early. But again, I think it's more a perception thing than anything else.
Are you and Mike Smith still co-chairs of the Jockey Guild?
Yes, we are. Yes.
And what do those duties entail?
Well, there's a lot of things that happen in the country, right? So we have different traditions, that different rules and everything, which now is actually getting smaller or more open to one rule in all the states, right? So everything it had to do from safety, from track safety, from vet safety, helmet safety, and mental health. Now the latest possibly coming in, try to help the jockeys. And then insurance, health insurance, temporary disability, long-term disability, all those things that can happen, and other things can. Then even I mean, we have done a little bit of trying to help jockeys also save some money, put in a 401k for the guys who want to contribute into that 401k, solo 1k. So we've done a lot of things to change it, to make sure at least they have something, if they want to contribute to something like that, help them, with whatever taxes maybe, trying to put them, into things. So, and we do a lot, for the jockeys, and obviously representation with the racetracks and states. So, so all those things are in place with obviously lawyers and Mr. Cherry Mix working with us, and Mindy Coleman doing that, and Lexington. So we have a lot of help, and then we have the guys who work through regional managers, works from state to states, and that we have 4 of them working, to make sure all those things pass along to the membership, that they know that all the things are in place, and obviously a lot of representation for any problems they may arise in those states. So they are there, so guide them to make sure they follow the rules and many other things. So it's a lot, but it's been fun. I think the most important things that we try to do is safety. Safety for everybody. It's, horses and jockeys. So if we keep the racetracks and everybody else in place, so following rules, and make sure we get ambulances and paramedics and the best help that we can get it in case we have an accident on the racetrack. So all those things in place, better rails, the surface, whatever it may happen. So at least we're there, that we can help the racetracks and make sure that things are done properly.
Are you performing at the PDJF karaoke?
I am. I am. I always try to do something. I'm a horrible singer, but it's a great event. We have a
I
lot of
am
fun.
too.
We do have a lot of laugh with it. So yes, yeah, yes we are. Yes, we're performing. Yes.
Do you already have it
I don't know.
choreographed and
This is very funny. I don't know. My wife is the one who does the chicken and the things, and try to find something else.
yeah.
We did had a song, and we were having some partners come in, some professionals come in to sing with us.
Professionals. Okay.
But that had to change.
Oh.
That had to change. So now we're going to be back to just my wife and I.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. I always tune into the live stream of the PDGF Jock Karaoke. It's a great time. Okay, Ron Moquette chiming in. Hey, Ron, how are you? He says, which jockey from the past would you like to have ridden with? Shoemaker? Also, any horse in history you would have loved to ride, perhaps Whirlaway?
Well, I mean, this is a great question because, like I was saying earlier, though, I only know racing since 1988, so I'm a little, I don't know how a lot from after that, though. I know Secretariat, and obviously the Triple Crown like that. So that's what I know from Secretariat on, because that's when we were taught and watching racing and stuff like that. I didn't ride with Shoemaker, and I kind of missed that because that was probably the last year that he was riding. I think in 1990 he retired, 91. I'm not sure if he was in the West Coast. That's one guy that I would love to be around him and watch him riding. But I was around Pat Day, I was with Jerry Bailey, and those guys, and I learned a lot. Obviously, my number one, Angel Cordero. That this is where I grew up in learning, though. But definitely, I heard a lot about Bill Shoemaker, and Angel was a big fan of him, and I would have loved definitely be part of it, at least to watch him ride him. Lucky Pink Eye, I didn't see him very much either, though.
yes.
I didn't see him a lot. I see him very little because he was in the West Coast and I was here, so I didn't get to see him a lot. But again, Angel, another friend of Angel that he loved, and he loved his riding. For those guys all the guys that you always heard of it, or I saw a little bit.
Like Eddie
maybe of them.
Arcaro.
Eddie Arcaro, but that's way before my time. I don't know anything. He was not even riding when I came in 1990. So, but Chimoke was, I think his last year was 89 to 90. He was one of the guys that I heard a lot. But yeah, but I didn't get to see him very much. Yeah.
Aw. Well, Ron, maybe he would also love to ride Whitmore.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I would have been part of the team there.
Oh, I was screaming like I owned him when he won the sprint.
I mean, it was a fun horse, and a
Yeah.
good friend of mine also rode the horse, so
Yeah.
so very happy for him too.
Yeah, of course. David says, like Jerry Bailey, 99-1 Breeders' Cup from No Namer from South America. Who would you consider your greatest Grade 1 long shot shocker?
Wow, that's a hard one to think.
Yeah.
That's a hard one because I don't think. I mean, not that I rode a lot of long shots and them, but I said the horse. I would go back to the horse. I mean, I had to go to the horse because he only had one race.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Cup. Yeah, I had one race before the Breeders' Cup, and my favorite Breeders' Cup as well. But I went to the jockeys. I mean, I rode two horses for Michael Dickinson that day, and I had like 5, 6 in total that day. And he told me, this is something, he was crying, telling me this: if you're gonna win a Breeders' Cup today, it's gonna be this horse. I'm telling you, this is gonna be the horse. Man, the emotions that I got and the feelings, like my goosebumps were everywhere. I was like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me, And who was my only winner? It was the horse. So definitely one of those things, crazy stories that you'll never think of it. And yeah, very, very true.
It boggles my mind that you can reach back and remember the details of the lead up to a race and then the actual choreography of a race. I can barely remember my name sometimes.
those things, it's very, I mean, it's very unusual, but those things that stays in your mind. I don't know why, but it's just things that, yes, I'm sure a lot of trainers do the same thing too.
Yeah.
They have their mind, and the way they remember horses, the races, and what happened in the race, all of that. It's like, I mean, I am very into it, and a lot of them stays with me.
Yeah. We're going to talk more about the 2-year-olds because this show's actually about 2-year-olds. It's a future stars forecast. But how do I have Johnny Velazquez on, not ask him about all these other horses and his career? So, any 2-year-olds you breeze in the morning that you're excited about for Saratoga and maybe Breeders' Cup? So hold on Complexion and Menti. We'll talk about them in a minute. But are there any others?
No, I haven't get on. I mean, again, I mean, I haven't been around for the last almost 3 weeks, so I haven't get on anything. But I did rode. I mean, I did breeze the horse that went for pleasure, and this is Fierce's little brother, before he won. And it's very funny because I breezed the horse against him, and I thought they were pretty apart, and then I breezed him by myself with some of the horse, and all of a sudden, I mean, he was like, well, this is the horse that I worked against the other day, so he was very impressive. Yeah. So,
Sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, before we get to actually talking about Menti, you ride Fierceness, his full brother. Fierceness, our 2-year-old champion, won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. The Florida Derby performance was exceptional. He was favored in the Kentucky Derby. I could be completely wrong on this. I was watching from on site there, and I've not seen the replay back since. Even though he's a short price, I backed him. I thought this horse was just so talented, and that this idea that he's on again, off again sort, I felt he had legitimate excuses for the races where he didn't show up. It looked to me, and again, I'm not a jockey, so take this for what it's worth. It looked to me out of the gate, and I was surprised by this because he had been working really well ahead of the race. It looked to me like he wasn't able to grab a hoofful of the dirt. Like he was kind of spinning his wheels like right out of the gate.
He did. I mean, he kind of gave it a weird hop out of the gate, but he recuperated very quickly, though. Like by the time we got to the wire for the first time, I was there, though. I mean, if you ask me, I don't know. I mean, I worked this horse the week before the Derby. If you ask me that he was going to run poorly like that, I was like, no way. This is one horse that works so good the week before the Derby. I mean, I was that confident. I was like, this horse, they're going to have to really run really hard to beat this horse. Just no way. And then he hopped out of the gate. He was a weird jump out of there, though. I had to ask him for 2 jumps after that, when he recuperated. He was pretty close, like I say, passing the wire for the first time. The only difference, he got real aggressive when the other horse got to him, past the wire, and going to the first turn. He got to pull, and he normally he relaxes, so he doesn't pull. And that's the only thing that I have found with him. And when he does pull, then he doesn't finish. So the races that he goes on, and he doesn't have to be in the lead, because I mean, when he won the Breeders' Cup, he was on the lead, but he was second, and he was never pulling. Like he was just relaxed, and he ended up winning very easily. And then he goes into the Florida Derby and won easily. Like not really pulling the head down, and he showed up like galloping the whole way around. So I don't know. It's really hard. It's one of the horses that you cannot. I don't know. I can't pinpoint what it is. I cannot. And like I said, he worked so impressive the week before. I was that confident. I went to the paddock, and Mike says, like, the only one nervous here is me. I said, you, look at you. And it's like, why should I be nervous? I mean, I'm like really pumped up waiting for the race, but yeah, it's like, it's very disappointing. Things happen like that. I mean, I think he's a really good horse. Quirky things that he does. I don't know. We can't pinpoint that, though. Yeah.
Have you been on him since in the morning?
No, I haven't. Like, I think I'm going to be working in here hopefully next week. Yeah, this Friday. I think Friday. Yeah.
So is Haskell the plan with you aboard?
I'm sorry.
Is the Haskell the plan with you aboard?
I believe so. Yes, I believe so. I mean, I haven't talked to, and again, I haven't talked to anybody, but that was the plan.
I think you should just assume that's it.
Yeah. I assume, and yes. So I mean, that was the plan, and I think that's where they're pointing in, and I heard he worked really well last week. So yeah, let's see what happens. Yeah.
And I should mention the Haskell, a win and you're in for the Longines Classic. And you've won the Haskell on 2 occasions with Todd Pletcher, talking about 2006 with Bluegrass Cat and in 2013 with Verrazano.
Yeah, very good. Wow. You do your homework, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very good. Yes.
I got
Yeah,
to
be
earn
lucky
it,
enough.
right?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, very good.
What's it like riding out there at the Jersey Shore?
It's great. I'm telling you what, they do a good job. They put a good program, and
Yeah.
I've been very lucky there. Through all the years that I go to Mountain Park. Yeah, it's been great. I mean, I have no complaints. Every time I go there, and I do get the opportunity to ride really nice horses there.
That's awesome. Let me see here. Katie is saying, Johnny, did you ever dream of riding in a different country like Japan?
I have ridden in Japan, and I have won
Yeah.
races in Japan. Yes. I went there. My first year I went there was 1996, I believe.
Wow.
96, 97, something like that. Yeah. I went for the jockey challenge. No, I'm sorry. The first time I went there for the Japan Club, the grass. And then I went to a jockey challenge, and maybe it was 98. Yeah, I won my first race that I won. Yeah, my first horse that I won, and I ended up finishing second in the competition. Then I went back 2000 something, and I end up again third in the competition. So yeah, been Japan has been good to me too. Yeah.
The fandom there. It's
Yeah, it's
incredible.
incredible. I mean, when you go there and you see the fans and the people everywhere, they're exciting. Yeah, they do a great job catering to the fans and everything they do in Japan. You have to give them to the way they do things there. Yeah.
Yeah. Frankie, hey John, how's your experience riding over in Ireland? We talked about that a little while ago. But here's a question. How would you compare the turf races overseas to here in the States?
Plus, everything everywhere you go is all different, right? And the track plays a little bit different. And including in Ireland, we got a day that it was raining, right? So now everything changes. So from the firm ground that we started with to a really soft ground and very slippery, and horses love it, and some of them hates it. So it's about having the horse that love the ground, and or at least like the ground. If they don't like it, that's it. You're doomed. But yeah, it's a little different in the sense that it's a slower pace that what at least the first part of the race that what we are accustomed here in the States. But you would surprise them. I mean, when they have hard ground, you can see that the pace changes as well. They want to be closer to the pace, and it changes the way they ride. I think it's like everywhere you go, you have to adapt to what the track is telling you and the horses, the competition that you're riding with. So you got to change a little bit of what you do normally in different places. Yeah.
What about, for example, at Royal Ascot, right? You've got these giant 20-something horse fields, and you'll see them come out. You've got that little bit of an undulation going on, and they separate. You've got a pack on one rail and a pack on the other rail. What is that like?
And it's great. I mean, that's the fun part of it. You don't know what part you're going to be. you gotta be so okay. What side of the pack going to? And in my sense, I when I go there and I want to walk the track, and for our horses that I have the opportunity to be with, most of our horses like the firm. So
Yeah.
so the track, you try to see where the grass is a little firmer than what that because the way it drains, right? So okay, the left part of the racetrack, if you will, when you're going from the gate up, which is closer to the stand, it will be a little drier than the right side. It just depends how the drainage of the track is. And in some part, some days that actually right in the middle is probably the best, for our horses. So it depends if it has not rained, right? So all the things. So now you make your decision whether you're on the right side or on the left side. Now for our horses, right? I have to come out running to make sure I go to the best part of the race that I think it is for our horses. So, and then one year I'm all the way on the opposite side, and I was one of the Wesley, so very quick enough. So I broke and I went all the way to that left side. I think we finished third in the race, and we didn't win, but I got called by the stewards because I actually made a little mistake that I actually broke and I went in as quick as possible. I was clear. They knew I was clear. I was clear, but I needed to pass a certain pull before I did
before
what
you
I
can do
did.
it.
So I got called for the steward by that, and then I did so. But I did make sure that I was clear, because when I went in, no one was around me. But and they agree with me, but by the rules, I had to wait until I passed that poll. It's like, I understand that, so I apologize for that. For next time, I'm more aware that I have to pass that poll before I do that. So all those things that we learned, right?
Yeah.
But I have to do what I have to do where I thought it was better for my horse to be on that side instead of being on the right side of the track that had a little more moisture in it, that my horse had to work harder for it. So yeah, those things that you have to learn, and
you
kind of go with the flow.
you've won the Windsor Castle with Strike the Tiger. You won the Queen Mary twice. You won that with Jealous Again, and last year's edition with Crimson Advocate. And of course, you won the Group 1 King Stand with Lady Aurelia. What was that like?
Yeah, incredible. And that was the days that I picked up the mount on the last minute too. I just landed and had 7 texts.
Oh my gosh.
You have to come into the racetrack, you pick up a mount, it's like, sure. It's like, and then it was later earlier. Absolutely, I'm going to show up for that, though, Obviously, that she was champ, and the way that she did things was very easily, and I was very glad that I picked it up. And I mean, and I'm glad that actually they gave me the opportunity, though, because there weren't many jockeys there that could have the mount, and I was glad that they gave me the opportunity to be there and actually and ride her there. So, what a thrill, everywhere in the world, wherever you go, and you are in a good horse and you're part of it, right? It's incredible just to be part of it and be there and winning the race. It's the best feeling in the world when you have those opportunities and be in such a high-end class meet, to get to win a great one. So incredible, the feelings and the emotions are incredible.
Well, you didn't miss a beat. You got back here to the States and you just won the Grade 1 Belmont Derby Invitational with Tricari. My buddy, Ernie Munich. You just won the Grade 1 Belmont Derby and the Grade 2 Belmont Gold Cup. Last month was electric. You looked half your age. How has your daily preparation changed, if at all, after all these years?
Me, I look half my age.
Yes.
Wow, thank you very much. Jeez, I'm very surprised. Thank you. I mean, my preparation to, if this is a question for writing, I mean, the homework, I do my homework basically the morning of. I don't like to do it the night before, because there'll be a lot of things in my head, and I'm a bad sleeper. If I do it the night before, then I'd be, my mind doesn't stop. So I wait into the morning. I might work in the morning, go to work in the morning, see what I have to do, and then come home, and then I do my homework, make sure that I go through all the races that I ride and all the competition. Basically, if I don't remember something, and then I go to the videos, to see, get a little more to freshen up my things. For the most part, reading the racing form, all the stuff, that's my homework. But that doesn't finish there, because and then I go to the racetrack and I see the scratches and the changes to see what can change at the racetrack, right? And then if it rains or anything like that, so then all your homework has changed, right? So everything have to change. So, but yeah, the normal situation that you prepare yourself before you go to the races, you do your homework and everything, and then it changes as the day goes, and then how the track is placed, and then it can change at the paddock as well when you get a different kind of instruction that you're expecting, though, So,
how do you handle that? How do you handle that when you have done your homework? You're a Hall of Fame rider, and you're getting instructions that are contrary to what your gut and your vast knowledge on the subject is telling you
like
should
I said,
do.
I mean, and thank you for saying that, but and I think Shug has it best. Like he can be a little bit, I'll say what he used in one of the videos. Oh my God. Opinionated. Yeah. So if I do have an opinion on the race, I'm going to say it, right? Even if I get instructions, that's like I have to say my opinion, because I'm going to try my best to do what they tell me to do. The gate opens now, it's me on top of the horse that I have to change it. So I have to give my opinion, and hopefully we kind of meet somewhere in the middle. I'm going to do my best to do when you got specific instructions, right? So you try to do their best to that instructions. For the most part, for the people that I do ride for, I must say, I mean, I get my opinion, they give their opinion, what they look, and we try to meet in the middle and to do what's best for the horse for that particular race, right? So every race is different. Even if you ride the same horse at different races, at different racetracks, so it kind of changes a little bit. So you have to give it your little opinion. So you ride the horse at the best abilities to get the best chance to your horse that you're riding for that particular race. So I have to say something. Even if I get instructions, I am gonna give my opinion. I'll do my best to do what they want. But once the gate opens, I try to do what's best. Yeah.
Well, you did what was best. I have actually, I'm glad Ern brought it up. I do have Takari's performance here. Let me share the screen. This past weekend. Can you take us through this race?
Yeah, I mean, it was very simple in the race, and then I talked to Graham and I've been friends forever too.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
I was talking about before the race, and he told me what I think. It's like what I thought was that I was hoping that Chad Brown would go to the lead with Flavian, and I'll be laying second. Well, if he's in the lead, it's low. I'm happy with that. It's like, and I was happy to be there too. But I was hoping, and I was really thinking that it would be best for us if we would take second. And I knew that Buick's horse gets a little bit keen, right? So I was like, okay, if I can hold this horse there and I have horse do it, I'll be great. So I let the other horse go, and then secondly, and hopefully, and this is what I said, Graham, I'll only be on the lead if my horse runs up. That's the only way I'll be on the lead. That's what I said. Otherwise, I think I'm going to let the other horse go, and then if he relaxes, he'll be perfect where we are. And he broke well, went past the wire really nice. He got a little bit on the bit, but once he got to the turn, he was off the bit. So now I don't have to do anything. He's just running on his own, and it kind of worked out perfect that he was not aggressive and gave me the opportunity to rate the horse the way I wanted to. And at the same time, I have the horse on the lead where I think I'm in a good position, and then I have the favor inside of me where I think I have a good position to hold it if I had any horse, and it just worked out that way.
A really beautiful horse too. On top of
Oh, I
everything
mean,
else, I have to say.
I have to say, Graham did a great job. Having obviously he's going for a mile to mile.
Yeah.
What's it, mile and a quarter? Was I think?
Yeah.
Mile thing. Sorry.
Yeah.
So, to have him ready to come and have him ready. So he did a great job to do that, though. So I was just the passenger, try to make it happen.
Hey, that's what you're there to do, is employ that knowledge. And I should mention, while we're talking about horses stretching out, that obviously everybody knows that we've got, let me stop the screen there. We've got Saratoga opening this week, and one of the older horses you will be riding who is stretching out, and this is on Saturday's card in the Grade 1 Diana, is Mission of Joy.
I haven't told the homework, so I don't know what to tell you about it.
No worries about that. But hey, how about we do this? I have the Just a Game here.
Okay.
And so we can watch that, because the fact that she is, I mean, the Just a Game, for those who don't know, is a mile. And this it was run at Saratoga. It took me a second. I'm looking at it, I'm like, Saratoga, because it was supposed to be Belmont, right? So that whole card was moved there to Saratoga. So this was on June 7th, and she ends up getting beat just a half length in this mile race, but it looked to me like she had a lot in the tank when it was coming on.
Yes. And then we've been kind of playing with her to see what she runs, and actually in that race, the way she galloped out, she seems like needed more distance, though. So I'm hoping that'll be the case here in Saratoga.
Yeah, and again, Graham Motion, and you've been on Mission of Joy basically.
Quite a
going
bit,
back,
yeah,
for a while now. That I was there for the QE2 Cup at Keeneland, restricted to 3-year-olds, but you were only beat a length by Maj. So even though there was an age restriction, it was still a really salty field.
I mean, I think if she goes back to that race, and we always kind of go back to that race because she was so, right on her money, though. So she was that probably one of the best races she's run. So, and we know she has the talent to do it, though. She just had to put it together, and I hope that she can do that here.
Well, how hard was it? You had the rail here in the Just a Game, and if I recall, Butte Cachet was acting up a little bit before the start.
To tell you the truth, our plans was put it when she's relaxed, though, and I think she's better when she relaxes, and she used to be a little bit on the keen side, though, and even when she ran that race at Keeneland, though, even though she was a little bit on the bridle, but she was reluctant sometimes. And when you let it finish, she come running though. That was the whole thing with her. I think that the plan with her that is try to relax whatever she is and try to come running with her, and hopefully she can do that. Yeah.
I mean, right there, you can just look at the gameplay that was afoot because here's a mile race and the half is in 48 and 64 100ths.
Yeah, and she came running. She get a
She came running anyway.
Yeah.
I think that was super impressive.
And she galloped out really good too. So just looking for her to repeat that and get a good finish.
Yeah, well, I obviously have a bit of a soft spot for her having won our Florida Oaks at Tampa Bay Downs, where I am the host analyst.
Very nice.
So so we'll now move along actually to opening day at Saratoga, and we'll actually talk about 2-year-olds, which this show is about, and we're going to talk about complexion in the Schuylerville Stakes. I had Danny Gargan on 2 weeks ago to talk about this filly. And one of the things, well, actually, I have a video clip of him. I'll let him say it. Here's what he had to say regarding your confidence in this 2-year-old filly.
Johnny really likes her, and that's a big bonus because, that was my first win ever with Johnny. And I'd only rode him a couple times because, he always had Todd in the past before he went to California. And he was really confident in her. I mean, it's kind of nice when you walk in the paddock, but Johnny, when we walked in the paddock, I said, I don't win first time out. He said, well, you are today. And so there's a little quiz. I was like, oh, easy, Johnny, now. But he said, no, you're going to win today, Danny. Relax. But she's just a smart, intelligent filly and just fun to be around. When you get a horse that just does everything every day, pretty much started working with older horses earlier because the young ones were having a hard time keeping up with her, and it's worked out for her, and we'll see how good things go opening week at Saratoga.
So what was it that gave
really
you
funny.
the inclination that it was lock, stock into the winner's circle?
That was very funny because I worked the filly. Another horse that I worked, and I worked with the horse that he had run already, and she was third. But anyway, I worked her, and I was like, wow, like this is a nice filly, though, Yeah. And then he goes to the paddles. I normally don't win first time out, and I kind of laugh at him. Not do that today. You win in the first opening. First time out. I told him, like, the way she worked, I was pretty confident that she was going to run really well, though. I mean, I didn't know what was in the race, whatever it may be, but the way she worked, she gave me a lot of confidence, and I was like, and it's funny because I went like this, like a smart ass laugh, and I told him, "You winning today for some out."
Well,
really funny.
She overcame adversity at the start of the race, too. I'll go ahead. I've got the replay here.
God,
everybody keep an eye on the outside gate and watch what happens to this girl right out of the blocks here. Go ahead. I'll hit play. And by the way, first crop representative of complexity. Oh, there we go.
Oh, yeah. The first jump was not good at all.
No, but you recovered brilliantly.
I know. She was instantly there and hands. So I was pretty confident that whatever she was, I was going to leave it there. And she just recuperated really quickly. And I just left it to it, So pretty easy. She seemed to handle it she was very professional,
Yeah.
And again, she did that in the morning too. So I was pretty confident. And I think that was one of the things that I was very confident with her because the way it worked out, she was all class and she did everything pretty easy. So very nice. Yeah.
And beautiful too. I know I always go back to the aesthetic of the horse, but I love them. This filly, half sister to multiple Grade 1 winner Jack Christopher.
Yes, she is.
And here she comes to the wire. Danny just loves the filly. The whole team does, and they loved her going into this. Though again, he was not expecting necessarily to win first out. What are your expectations going into the Schuylerville? Is there added pressure when you are the morning line favorite?
Not to me. I mean, you just hope the horse comes back good and doing the same thing she was doing prior to that race. Obviously, they all stepping up here, though. So there is a different race than being maiden and now running against winners.
Yes.
So now what the kind of horse that you're gonna get on that day. Obviously, it's a lot more speed than the first time she run. I think she has a lot of class. I think she's going to handle everything good. I mean, I really, I'm hoping that she can do that again, and not a horse that need to be on the lead anyway. It'll be plenty speed in the race, and hope that she can handle that. Yeah.
So you think that she can be tactical? What do you think?
I think so. That's the feeling she has given me, though. And the twice that I've been on her, though. So I don't think she's a horse that is going to be crazy speed. There's 2 horses in there that I've seen. I didn't do my homework yet, but I know.
It's okay.
I think Asmussen has a horse in there, and somebody
The
else
one.
that I saw that had 2 speed, and Wesley has one that I rode as well.
Oh.
And she's pretty quick. So those are 2 that I remember. I didn't
Long
see
neck
anything
Paula.
else. I didn't see anything else that, again, homework is not there
Yeah.
yet, but yeah, I remember very quickly what I saw. Yeah.
And stretching out another furlong.
I don't see the problem either, though.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think the way she galloped out and the race and the way she breathes, actually, she seems like to handle very well. And again, we know she won very easily first time out. It's every horse in the race had to step up, to win against winners basically, and see how they can handle that.
Yes. And
But I'm excited for her. Yeah.
I'm excited too. The 2-year-olds are my favorite because there's this whole hope that they're going to ascend to be the marquee horses of tomorrow.
Absolutely.
But that's the thing. When I look back at your Breeders' Cup record, you've won on everything. It doesn't matter the age. It doesn't matter the distance. It doesn't matter the surface. You just know how to handle all types. Do you feel that?
Thank you.
No, well, don't you think that there are some riders who they have a finesse with maybe a young horse more than just the general average older horses who may be set in their ways, or some vice versa? The babies are a little hard for them to figure out.
I try to race to the challenge. This is the way I think, right? I think everything's a challenge, and I think you should learn, from everybody and from every horse and every surface. So any time anybody tried to put a limit on me, okay, I'm going to show you I can adapt to that. So, I think to myself that I can adapt to anything, and that's the way I always approach it, right?
Yeah.
I don't want it to be limited in one thing that I'm gonna be good only one ride or one surface or one distance. I'm gonna adapt to whatever is thrown at me, and obviously having the horses is the most important thing, right? But you still have to do the job to adapt to that distance or whatever it may be that gets thrown at you with the horse. So I try to do that. I try to look at it as a challenge all the time. I don't want to limit myself to one thing and one style or anything. I want to be able to be anything, do anything that is possible to learn and to do. And I think that's the way I look at my career, and I'm being very lucky, very fortunate to where I am today.
Well, you always rise to the occasion. I just want to make sure I'm not ignoring people's comments here. Gosh, you've got so many comments. Here's one actually from my husband, Matt Carruthers. Was Uncle Mo the first horse you rode for Mike Rapoli?
Well, my first stake win for Mike Rapoli. No, I won races for him before, but I think he definitely could have been the first stake race for Mike Rapoli. And I was the first, big horse for him, though, and for me with him, though. So yeah, we had win races before, but not like quality races. Yeah.
How cool is it for you to have a connection with horses who have gone on to be influential in the breeding shed? I think it goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway. Uncle Mo, a prepotent sire who's really been a breed shaper. So
incredible, right? I've seen a lot of the horses that I rode early on in my career, and then they're great studs right now. I mean, they do an incredible on the breeding part of it, so very proud. I mean, part of that, legacy with the horses that I rode, and they're still going, though, so, and I'm lucky enough to ride, the babies, though, that's another thing. So, right, I'm still around. Thank God I'm healthy and get an opportunity to ride for the same people that I've been riding for many years, and still get opportunities to ride their babies, the horses that I rode a long time ago.
Well, this is actually crazy. I want to show this, because when I look at, here's Fierceness's pedigree. Okay. I don't know if everybody can see that or not. I don't know how clearly you can see that, But you've ridden so many horses in this pedigree.
Yes, don't make me old.
But you rode Quality Road.
Yes.
So that is the sire of City of Light. You rode Nona Bella.
Yes.
You rode Stay Thirsty.
Yes.
Nona Mia.
Yes.
It's incredible, right?
Yes. Yes. And I have been around for a little while.
Oh my goodness. Did you ride Empire Maker at all?
No, that one I
Okay.
didn't ride. No.
All right. Well, we have to go
That
a couple
was-
back.
That was Jerry Bailey rode him.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. For the great late Bobby Frankel.
Yes.
And you know what's funny? Side story on that. Frankel loved Empire Makers. Like, this is the best horse I've trained. And then this is before like Go Zapper became Ghost Zapper.
Yes. I remember that.
Yeah.
It's funny because when he broke his maiden, Empire Maker broke his maiden, I wasn't a horse, and it was just a horse. And then I don't remember who it was, but when he broke his maiden, he was not impressive at all. Even though he broke his maiden, I even said that. It's like, man, that's his best horse is in trouble, man. can't be, because I don't think this maiden race showed up anything. And which it didn't. The maiden, all the second and third didn't show up to be anything. But he, on the other hand, and that horse, on the other hand, end up to be the horse that he was, but it was a bad maiden. So I was like, man, I don't know if that's the kind of horse that he think he is. But he ended up being the horse that he thought it was. But it was one of the things that you don't never know if they're going to show up, and he did. He showed up to be the horse that Bobby thought he was.
It's crazy. You were there at Lone Star. Obviously, we saw you winning some Breeders' Cup races there. Notably, we lost Speightstown recently. Winner of the Breeders'
yes.
Cup sprint there.
Yeah.
But yeah, the record Ghost Zapper set still stands as the fastest Breeders' Cup Classic.
Yeah, I was second to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was second to him.
Oh gosh. But see, you've had the best seat in so many races though.
Unfortunately, some of them are not as good because I was second.
No, right, but is it? But you've been first. A lot of times. A lot of times.
Yeah, very fortunate. Very, very blessed. Yes.
Ashada was Fletcher's first Breeders' Cup win, right?
It was the same day. I don't know which one was first. Whether it's Spiketown or Ashada. Who was first? I think Spiketown was the first one.
Okay.
And then Shadow was after. So I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that, but it was the same day.
Okay. Yeah.
Day.
It's just incredible, when you look at this, and you don't have to get into details. I'm just curious, as a rider, because I've heard, with horses who've gone off to stud, if you helped build their career, there's usually a stallion share in there for you, or season.
Not customary here in America, so I don't have a lot. No.
Do you think that's something that they could better establish here in the States, maybe through?
Absolutely. I mean, I wish they do it more, and especially that the U.S. plane, and we help those horses to get to where they were, but it's really hard. It's really hard to get, a share with the horses. So
yeah,
so I don't have a lot. Yeah,
because I feel jockeys want to win irrespective, but I think there's something to be said that if that was another incentive, it would probably drive all the further that will to win. And also, if you don't ride, you don't make money.
Yeah. Well, the best way to look at it is that you also get opportunities with all the horses, right? So sometimes you leave another horse that has probably a good chance, and you lose that mount, right? So at least if you have some sort of reward that you keep this horse, and you lose your other mount, and you end up losing the race, maybe whatever could happen. So at least you had some sort of compensation in the end because you stuck to that horse. So, so there's things to look at, so it's like, because you do lose some business when you stick to one horse the whole time, though.
Because that's the thing, exactly what you just said. And as I just mentioned, if a jockey doesn't ride, they don't make money. If there's an accident or something, if maybe they've had a horse in the past before something, let's hope nothing ever bad happens, but maybe there's still that fallback of having some sort of compensation, some sort of money that can still come in once a jockey has either had to retire via injury or just retired, period.
That's a compensation no matter what, though, something to you were part of the team, right? You were part of the team.
Mhm.
You accomplished all these things, so it should be. I don't know I think the way you're thinking it should be a complementary thing that happens right away. But it doesn't
Yeah.
happen that way. It doesn't happen that way.
Oh, it would be nice if it did. But let's go ahead. So I showed Fierceness pedigree. I showed all these horses that you've rode in the pedigree. You've rode Fierceness himself. Now let's talk about his full brother, Menti. And boy, he set a track record performance on debut. Let me go ahead and pull this up here. Menti heading into the gate. And this, I believe, was just a day after you won aboard Complexion.
I believe so. Yeah. That was right after.
And so here we go. This horse just goes to the lead. Boom. You hustled him out and gone.
Yeah, I know he was going to be quick too. I just didn't. Just like the filly, I had a bad post. I worked him again. I worked his horse, and I knew he was going to be quick. So I had to be careful how much I do the first part, because if you ask him to do too much, he's going to quick very quickly. So I'll be careful next time.
Yeah. Oh, let me see here. I want to see what the figure came back. I'm pulling that up right now. Figure for Menti.
See how quickly
88
up here. Yeah. So,
and
he's running, and I never hit him. I mean, he was just gonna be a little green too, so I was never too aggressive. But probably should have, because he was getting a little tired, but also getting a little distracted, if you will. And then I almost got caught by not having him ready for it.
Well, yeah, the camera went to this horse, colloquial,
Yes.
but you held on for sure. And
Yeah.
let me see here. I'm gonna take that part
We
off.
can't take anything away with the horse for a second, because he actually galloped out really good, and it seems
Yeah.
like every horse that the Coma is throwing, they're runners.
The Comas.
Yeah, they're runners. So, but I think obviously my horse ran a really good race and a track record, for the first timer. So very nice.
Incredible. And Menti, again, going to be running in the Sanford Stakes, the Grade 3 Sanford Stakes, and that's going to be on Saturday's card at Saratoga. Are you already there?
I'm here. Yes, I'm in Saratoga. Yeah, I got
And
here last night.
what do you most look forward to through the meet?
Good racing. It's just, obviously exciting with the 2-year-olds like you.
Mhm.
I think my career has taken me to where I am because of 2-year-olds, right? So like early in my career, I was very good with 2-year-olds, right? And then it kind of put me into the big barns because I was riding 2-year-olds for multiple people, and then the big barns kind of catch up there. This guy is pretty good, and I was young enough, to ride the young horses, and that's what I learned. I learned with the training in Puerto Rico with 2-year-olds, very very young, and they do things very different in Puerto Rico. They break the horses at the track, so you have to learn with the 2-year-olds no matter what.
Yeah.
But so I was very used to right away with the 2-year-olds, so that's kind of had bring me to where I am today, being good with 2-year-olds, and it's like anyway, exciting to be around the 2-year-olds. That's the future of racing, right?
Yeah.
You hope that they train on to be what we expect of them,
I have more comments here. Carlos, greetings from your native Puerto Rico. Thank you,
Hello.
Carlos. And Rodrigo de Oliveira Diaz. Let's see. Lon. Hi, Lon. Which horse is hands down your favorite? I think we talked about Wise Dan before.
Yes.
And which track do you love to ride on? I'm guessing all, but do you have a favorite?
I do like every racetrack, but I have to say Saratoga is my favorite. I have a very close heart here in Saratoga. Yeah, I think definitely I have to say that. This basically when my career started, and to be where I am today. If it was not here in New York and what I done here in Saratoga, I wouldn't be the place that I am right now.
Love it. Attila the Hun. Which distance do you like riding most? A sprint, a mile, or a route race?
I like to ride the race that the horse like to run the best.
There you go. That's the right answer.
I had to adapt to everything. Like I was saying earlier, though, I had to adapt to the horse, the distance, and everything. So I adapt to any distance to as long as the horse likes it, So
Mhm.
I don't put any limits to myself. So I let it to the horse and the distance, how we handle that and how we plan for the race.
Which race is your favorite? I don't know if Katie means in general or if she means specifically of the Breeders' Cup championship races.
Wow, that's tough, right? Because we have
Yeah,
so many good
yeah.
races in the country, though, right? I mean, there's so many good races in the country
Is there
from the
one win
Breeders'
that
Cup.
just stands out for you above everything?
Um, Not really. To tell you the truth, there's so many good races, but the Kentucky Derby is probably the most famous race in the world because no matter where you go,
Well, that's the
everybody
first
says,
question, right? When you
yeah,
say you're a
first question.
jockey.
Oh, you're a jockey. Have you been in the Kentucky Derby? Or have
Yeah.
you won it? So
Yeah.
that's the first question. So people who don't know very much about horse racing, but they know about the Kentucky Derby, that's probably the first question that you get asked. So yeah, it's the most known in the world. So we're talking about the Breeders' Cup. So okay, see, I talked the Breeders' Cup, definitely the Breeders' Cup Classic. I I chased that race for many years and win it with Authentic. So I mean, I've been very lucky and very blessed to win all of them before that, and not winning the Breeders' Cup Classic. It was kind of getting a little bit cheap.
Yeah.
But definitely, yeah. I've
Is
been
there
very
another?
fortunate. Been very fortunate that I won pretty much in that. I could say pretty much race that I chased basically, and I mean including the Preakness that I was not winning. The Preakness was kind of one of the races, the big races that I was missing. The rest of it, I mean, there's so many good races out there, but the most important races that I think that I kind of had eyes on my career, I think I accomplished most of them though. So
Oh, that's
very
awesome.
happy. Yeah, very happy with that.
Stefan, how would you rate Uncle Mo? Would he be amongst the best horses you rode?
He definitely one of the best horses that I've ridden, and he was one of those super 2 year olds that that he was like wow. I mean, he give you goosebumps every time though. And unfortunately for him, with problems that happened and health wise that
Yeah.
he had, he couldn't continue doing that. But he was definitely incredible. Yeah, what a horse. I think I'm blessed to be part of it. Yeah.
I had never seen him in person until a couple years ago out over at Coolmore. And I was just so surprised by how big he is because he's so balanced that you wouldn't necessarily think, oh, yeah, he's this giant. He's huge.
But he's not too big though.
No, he's not too big, but
He's
he's
actually
he's,
kind
he's a
of the
lot
horse that
bigger
is
than I thought.
perfect round, all around horse. Though. I think
Yeah.
not too big, not too small, not too short. He's like the really round horse that you look for, though. Not too heavy, not too tight. So he has that perfect confirmation, if you will. Though, that the way it looks, though, and the way he moves. He moves very very smooth. So, yeah, what a horse! I have to tell you, though. So one of the things that I wish he could stay healthy. Later on. To
Yeah.
continue. And one of the reasons he was scratching the Breeders' Cup because he was not healthy and whatever disease he caught up with, so I kind of short his career.
Well, I have to ask, do you guys, you top jocks, do you ever see a horse of just such tremendous talent, and you know that they've already got their jockey, so it's not a matter of getting a call up to ride in the afternoon because you, that they've got their jockey, but you still want to test drive it? Like, have you ever asked?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So have you ever asked? For example, did you ever ask Mike if you could work and John Sherris if you could work Zenyatta?
Oh, that no, because he was in the West Coast, so I was like, I would
Yeah.
not. Yeah, yeah. I would definitely would love to take a ride on her. Yeah. At least in the morning, yeah, just to get a feel of it, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all those things happen. So you can see it's like I mean, cigar. Let's look at cigar. A horse that I was just in my career, kind of starting and I was winning stakes and stuff like that. But it's like, and I wish I was around. I wish I could ride him, though. So all those things that thinks about come to your head, and
Yeah.
I was, won a couple of stakes for Bill Ma at the time too. Um, so those things, you think, like, hey, man, I wish I definitely would have been the horse. But yeah,
Right?
but you mentioned many horses that you could ride, and they're very impressive though,
I
just
just
to
thought
get
of
a
that.
feel of it.
I just love that because I was thinking of Uncle Mo being. I'm short though. I'm 5'3 1/4, so every horse is giant to me. But Zenyatta is truly a dinosaur. So
Yeah, she was a big girl, definitely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Ray has a question, and then I've already kept you over an hour, so thank you so much. So we'll start to wrap things up. Ray, I'm sorry. Ray says, when you broke from the gate with Authentic in the Derby, everyone thought you were going to send hard. You broke, hesitated slightly for a moment, and then when others inside of you saw you not send, they backed off, and then you sent hard. Was that hesitation a calculated strategic decision?
Yes, it was, and one because I had a horse and inside that also Bob had, so I didn't want to be head and head with the other horse and thinking that I'm then, so I broke well, like going forward, took a look, and it's like, okay, he's not there, so now I can go, though, so I didn't want to be caught up in the thing, the head and head with another horse, and then, not have anything. So, so the break from the gate was really good. Took the look inside to see where the competition was and not behind, and then okay, let's go on now and take the position that we wanted to. Yeah.
All right. Well, there's your answer, Ray. And again, I have to thank you so much for all the time you've given us. There's so much to look forward to, but I'm going to take it back to again that Hall of Fame induction in 2012. When you think about that and you think about the speech that you gave then and just the emotion, the feeling of being inducted into basically the highest level you can go in our sport. Well, Ray thinks it was a brilliant decision. When you look back on that, at that point in time, did you have it in your mind at all about how much longer you were going to ride? And if so, are you now looking at your resume here in 2024 going, wow, I've accomplished so much more than I even thought I would do after that point, that benchmark, and I'm still got so much more to do going forward.
I when I was inducted to the Hall of Fame, I wasn't even thinking. Yeah, I'm not even thinking about retiring now. But like I never had any thoughts about near retirement. When I was inducted to the Hall of Fame, I was enjoying it as much as I'm enjoying it now. Getting the opportunities to ride the horses. But I'm being very blessed also that I come back for injuries. That even since then, since I was inducted, to come back and still doing what I love. But yeah, I don't think I had that mentality yet, and I don't think I have it yet. I mean, although I had slowed down a lot the way how many horses I ride in the year. I enjoyed the competition. I enjoy the horses. I enjoy winning races, and the fire to win and finding the next best thing, to keep you going. So that's the way I think. So thinking about what can bring me to that excitement, right? The excitement that we always get and finding a good horse and having the opportunity. So I'm blessed enough that I'm healthy and having opportunities that I still see people giving me opportunities, right? I just come back from Ireland and win a great one. Wow, right? You got to say, wow, it's like it's still happening, So the things that you enjoy, right? You enjoy it. You're blessed to have those opportunities and to still doing it. It's incredible. It's the best feeling in the world. You cannot change that, though. And that's the way I look at things, though. So if I'm healthy enough and I still get the opportunities I'm getting right now, I will stick around for a little bit. If I see that I'm not getting the opportunities that I probably want, and then I'll change my mind. Hopefully I'm healthy enough that I can say, okay, I'm bye. You know what I mean? Okay, that's it. That's it for me. I'm not wanted. So if I'm not wanted, I can walk away, basically. So that's the way I look at it. If I'm wanted, I'm getting opportunities that I get, and I'm having fun with it. I'll stick around. But if I'm not wanted, and then I can't get the rights that I think I can do, right? This is what I think. I can do what I did 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and 30 years ago. I'm sure I'm better than I was 30 years ago. So maybe 15, 20 years ago. That's the way I think. I'm really healthy. I'm really strong, and nothing has changed. I don't feel any different at 52 that I was in my late 30s. So Very capable to do the same things that I was doing in my 30s.
And I will leave it with this. What would you want people who watch what you do day in, day out, watch what a jockey has to do day in, day out? What would you want them to know about your profession that you feel does not come across enough?
It's a hard life, though. It's a hard life, and it's a hard life for the trainers as well. And it's a hard life for the people who works with the horses too, though. So I can't say that it's just different than anybody else who work with horses, and especially working 7 days a week, though. Although some people work different hours, whatever it may be, and low hours, but it's a hard life for all of us who work in the racetrack, and a lot of sacrifices, and especially if you have families. So those are the things that people and all the sports. Okay, so let's say all the sports, right? They have time off, right? They come 6 months, 3 months, whatever it may be. There's a seasonality that all the sports have. We don't. We go all year long. It's really hard for the families. You leave the families back. So it's really hard on the body. Also, one thing that is probably one of the hardest part is for the jockey to stay fit all year long, stay strong, stay light. Make sure you stay light so you can do the weight, all that stuff. So it's a lot of struggles and a lot of emotions go through it. Try to stay level-headed, right? Whether you're on the top or you're on the bottom, and you're trying to make it just like anybody else in any sports or in any. It's really hard for jockeys to go and working in the morning. And by the way, most jockeys work for free just to get a mount in the afternoon. So imagine driving 2 different places, whatever it may be. But it could be in New York, could be in Kentucky, and Kentucky probably one of the places that you drive everywhere just to try to get into a barn or try to get on a horse, and get a mount in the morning. Working everywhere, and you don't know if you're actually going to get the mount on that horse for the afternoon. So think about that. Think about all the things that all these guys have to do. And I went through it, and then most of it to do through. I mean, I still drive, many places too. Doesn't guarantee me I'm going to get it out as John Velazquez, right? But I'm going to go and try to get it. So things that we have to do, to try to get him out. And it's a hard life. All the sports and everything else, they have contracts, right? So whether you show up or not, you have a contract, you make money. We don't. We don't make money in the morning, and we only make money in the afternoon. So it's a really hard life to come on to. It's not an easy life, and I was one of the lucky ones and blessed ones that that I had a little bit of talent and a lot of people helping me and people who made friends with that are still around with. So it's a hard life for the jockeys to be in, and to be 100% every time you get on the horse with the ups and downs and depression, right? All the people who are depressed and all that stuff. So, and I see a lot of my colleagues that have to go through that and working hard in the morning and not getting in the mountains, and that's part of our business. But yeah, you got to feel for those guys too, because I went through it just growing up and doing what I do, and still, this is a life they chose, and then I get it, but it's really hard for those guys to make a living and have a family at the same time. So it's really hard. So it's very different from other sports than what we do. Really hard. And I know trainers go through the same thing, because it's a little bit different, even though they're working, right? And some owners do not pay, right? But they're still working 7 days a week. And it's really hard for the trainers as well. So it's a different life for all of us who work in the racetrack. And although the ones who get paid, we're even working in a hard life, but they're getting paid. For those who don't get paid, it's really hard to go to work every day and thinking about how you're going to put food on the table, the next day, right, to your family and friends, or to family, with your immediate family. It's a hard life, yeah.
Gosh,
I don't want to be negative on the thing, but yeah,
no,
that's part of the thing. Yeah, that's part of our life that the jockeys do, and also trainers as well.
It just puts it so much more in perspective. What you said, all the trials and tribulations that you go through, that moment in the winner's circle, and you're getting that picture taken, whatever type of race it is.
Exactly. It doesn't matter what it is. Think about just do a jockey going to work every day for free and just trying to get a mount. Doesn't matter what it is, just to get a win for what you do, what you do love, because you do. I mean, you have to love what you do to ride, right? But being compensated, not only compensated for winning, the thrill that you get by winning, it's incredible. You're just winning a race. It's just like wow, I mean, this is part of, winning, right? So it's a thrill no matter what, though. And then, the money's after it and whatever it is, but working hard and trying to get a win is really, really hard for all of us. And it goes the same thing so for most trainers. Um, but yeah, it's an ascent for us jockeys just to be positive and to stay light, stay fit, stay, on top of your mind and physically. Really hard, really hard.
Gosh, again, it just puts it so much more in perspective because you do hear of jockeys getting off a mount after a ride. It didn't go the way that they had hoped. And then maybe you have got somebody heckling them as they go back.
Yes. Imagine the pressure that we feel. I mean, all these
Oh,
jockeys. I mean, I for once, I'm very open to anything, and I'm frustrated with the people, and I say my things. I'm probably one of those that I'm very open and big mouth, and I respond for those criticism. But most of them can't do that, though. So it's hard for people to be criticized and be put down and making a mistake today and work really hard to get that now, and all of a sudden, whatever mistake happens, lost them out because of that, and people yelling at you, coming home, coming from the racetrack, and everything. How demeaning, how you feel, like you useless, right? So it's
yeah.
really hard. So I can see it happening for a lot of people, and for all of us. I mean, anybody who's on top, anybody who's in the bottom, no matter what, there's like it's the feeling that you get is that you being, you know, disrespectful that to you or to the things that you do. It's really hard. Yeah.
I imagine it must have been all the more surreal just knowing everything that you had to go through to get there. That first time you to make it in the Kentucky Derby, winner's circle with that garland of roses. Uh, I can't imagine what
It's
emotions were
surreal
going
for
through you.
anybody. It's like for anybody, it's surreal, right? So
Yeah.
anybody who's in any job or anything like that, but it's like when you dream to get to, the opportunities that I have, and I have again, to get there and win it, it's like it's incredible, right? And even just to
Mhm.
win a race every day, but to get to that position and that high level of business that I've been very blessed to be. And drive those kind of races and winning, so it's incredible. I mean, you cannot, you can't change, you can express the gratitude and the emotions that you get from those moments, right? Like,
Yeah.
wow. I mean, I'm one of the lucky ones and blessed to be part of this little. Um, I want to say a bubble because I mean there are many people who actually have won the race, but not a lot of people get to win those kind of races. So definitely one of the blessed people to be part of that.
Well, I will say this as we close the show. As somebody who's a believer, it sounds like yes, blessed and you have the temperament and that you were for such a time as this and that and it's such a place as where you are and that you have risen to such great heights because of the ability, the god-given talents that you have, and you also have the mind and the heart to be an advocate for those who aren't in your position. You are their voice and you are their basically a line of defense and line of offense, in doing what you do for the Jockeys Guild
Well,
and
this
being
is
a
the way I
mentor.
look at it. This is the way I look at it. It's like if we don't have those guys and girls who put all the work and effort, just like I mean, there's no racing though. You could have all the horses you
Yeah.
want, and it's like if you don't have those guys who part of the racing, they fill up the races, right? And
Yeah.
and to get opportunities to ride the horses that maybe I don't want to ride or the other one don't want to ride, but they get the opportunity to ride those kind of horses. But that means that we have racing, right? That's part of the racing. If we don't have those kind of horses or the kind of people or they put in all the work that they do to be a part of the racing, then we have no racing. So that's the way I look at it. It's like they helped me to be where I am, so I have to help them to be where they are so they get a little better than they were supposed to get. So I think that's the way I look at it. So if they're not there, and I think the trainer is the same way though. If the little guys not there, they're not going to have races to feel the races and to make us a better better sport or their living, if you will. So everything is same. It goes back to how many people you have, how many horses you have, and how many there to fill that race. So we all can enjoy it. Though.
To have a beautiful tapestry, you have to have many, many threads.
Yes.
And This has just been so cool for me. You've always been so nice whenever I've had the opportunity to speak with you, but this uh, opportunity to sit down with you and really elaborate on your career has just been an absolute thrill and honor. And Johnny, I just wish the best for you going forward as well. I'm looking forward to so much more. Again, bringing it back to the 2-year-olds, just to remind everybody, Johnny's going to be riding opening day in the Schuylerville Stakes aboard Complexion, and then a really exciting 2-year-old colt in the Grade 3 Sanford, and that horse, full brother to Fierceness, talking about Menti. But yeah, Johnny, thank you so much. A Hall of Famer in every way. We really appreciated having you here on the Future Stars Forecast, and looking forward to seeing what these horses do in the future.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And by the way, send me that tape, please.
I am doing it. You got it.
Thank you.
Everybody else.
You up to it.
Oh, I'm going to do this right after I get off here. It is being sent to you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Everybody, thank you so much. This has been your Future Stars Forecast on a 2-year-old Tuesday featuring Johnny V. Check you next week.